How's everybody feeling? Good. We're winding down at the end of the conference, which is...
Where should we sit?
Oh, so sit wherever you want. We keep this very casual and flowing. But I hope you guys have enjoyed the... Thank you, Michael.
Both so fancy.
Thank you.
I know, right?
You got to keep it fly always. You know how Broccoli City does, and keep in line with the green. But I hope you guys have been enjoying the two-day conference so far. It's really been thought-provoking, inspiring, whether you're on stage or in the audience. I'm sure you guys have been taking some food for thought, some gems back with you, and networking as well. I'm Brittany Johnson. In case you haven't attended any of my panels yet, I am a social media producer and on-air contributor for NBC4. I am also the host of Broccoli Talks, which happens at Broccoli Bar, which is a partnership that Broccoli City and Pizza created and opened in October of 2018. So super excited to have Michael with us today, who is the founder and CEO of Pizza. Let's give a round of applause for him. Facts. And also Rashida still right next to me, and I'm going to let them get into exactly what they do and tell you guys a little bit about themselves. Rashida, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for being here for the panel. My name's Rashida Still. I manage the hyper-local sponsorships and partnerships for Diageo here in DC and Maryland. That is everything from conferences, the festivals, to smaller scale events. We really focus on the multicultural audience and driving culturally relevant and authentically engaging experiences for our consumers. So really my goal is to connect people, connect brands, and make sure that we're positioning our portfolio in the right context, through the right lens, so that we can drive engagement in business.
And that's happening right downstairs right now with the Crown Royal Speakeasy Bar that's been lit since the conference opened.
Make sure you guys pop down after the panel.
How many brands does Diageo have now?
50 plus.
50 plus?
Yes, all in the portfolio. Locally, we focus on your main 20. So your Cirocs, your Crown Royals, your Tanquerays, your Don Julios, your
That is Rain headset, by the way, guys.
But yeah, we have a pretty vast portfolio of brands available.
Michael, people know who you are, they know the brand, but tell us a little bit about yourself and how Pizza even got started.
Oh, it's a long story.
Let's keep it short and sweet, but I think a lot of people are interested and might not know the background of that, and that's why I want to start in that way before we get into the collaborations.
Yeah, of course. So Micheal Lastoria, founder and CEO of Pizza. Pizza was started in 2012, so we're coming up on our 7th anniversary.
Wow.
And it's actually my third, thank you. And we opened up our 35th pizza shop, which was actually a smaller footprint, smaller format in Union Station. So go check it out. It's in the food court, but it's really cool, experiential. We figured out a way we could do the same amount of pizza production in 300 square feet instead of 1,500 square feet.
I don't know how y'all do it.
So yeah, Pizza is my third startup. I started my first company when I was 22 years old. I grew up in a small town, actually a hamlet of 500 people. So one flashing light, one bar. I went to the same building from kindergarten through 12th grade.
Wow.
My public high school graduating class was 35 people, and this is 60 miles south of Buffalo, New York. So, yeah, there we go.
Hey,
okay.
New York in the building.
Yeah. So, and really the whole foundation and purpose between Pizza was to build a values-based business, and we felt like the symbol that best reflected those values was an ampersand. So it's a little goofy. I know people are like, Pizza, what? But really it's about promoting unity, doing the right thing, and we're going to constantly step up for the neighborhoods, the communities in the city that we serve, which is predominantly Washington, D.C. So really happy to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
Yes. Round of applause for that. So I want to get into this question and ask you guys what it means for both of you. We're talking about crowded marketplaces in particular. And with that being said, crowded marketplaces can be very competitive, for starters. So what does community over competition mean for each one of you?
I think for me personally, in the wine and spirits space, it's really about aligning yourself with partners and platforms and groups and consumers that will help you to reach the greater goal. So, through partnerships and sponsorships, we always want there to be mutual benefit. We always want to maximize, the respective resources that each brand brings to the table, whether that's dollars, whether that's access, whether that's reach, whether that's, assets. And so for me, understanding that there's several brands and several people just like myself trying to activate those brands and push those brands forward, just being mindful of how I can be a great partner, but be a mindful partner. So I am very big on...
Mindful, that's the key word.
I'm very big on the collaborative effort. There are a lot of partners involved in the wine and spirits sponsorship and partnership space, from the distributor, from the local team, from the accounts, and the respective people that we're working with. So I tend to be very conscious of making sure that I'm not stepping on toes, but still, representing my brands and pushing them forward, and making sure that overall, we're here to serve the consumer. That's the ultimate goal.
The community.
And we can do that collectively, right?
Yeah.
So really just, again, working together to make sure that everyone can take a piece of the pie. There's a lot of share throw in this market, and we can all share a piece of that.
Everybody can eat, y'all. Everybody can eat. What about you, Michael?
Yeah, so I think there's probably no and pizza without community.
Facts.
And for us.
And has that been an important mission for you since day one?
Oh, look, I mean, we opened up our first pizza shop on H Street Northeast, and the irony in that is, I came from New York City, and the real estate brokers that we had, they were like, it is literally a death sentence if you open up on H Street Northeast. You couldn't at the time find a Starbucks. And there was a lot of risk in making a bet on that particular community, but we felt like that was the best reflection of the brand in terms of who we wanted to be. That street, that part of Washington, D.C. is very inspirational. And literally, it was the community that kind of lifted us up, the community members that stood from the rooftops and shouted their love for the brand, and that's the reason why we exist today. So I don't think you can literally remove community from and pizza, and that's been part of our anchor, which is why when the government shut down, the obvious solution for us was let's feed as many
Round
people
of
as
another
we can.
applause for that, because you fed thousands of people during that time. Very crucial.
30,000.
To be exact.
To be exact.
And I was going to follow up with that in the sense of, why does collaboration matter? Why is it so important that we come together and collaborate instead of doing things on our own? You know what I mean? I think there is something special in collaboration, and we become bigger than ever when we do come together, correct?
Definitely. I think that collaboration is extremely important because you can't be all things to all people as a brand, and we're not going to be able to provide everything that's needed to make this larger scheme of things come together. So for me, it's like often as a sponsor or a partner, I'm able to provide dollars, I'm able to provide structure, I'm able to provide guidance on how to bring these events together. But my organizers are bringing culture, they're bringing the consumer, they're bringing the social platform or reach, and we each are able to add equal value, but in different spaces for what we do. Me as the brand, there are things that I can offer that you as the organizers can't, and vice versa. So it's really important that we come together and identify each other's respective strengths and play on that and maximize overall opportunity.
I agree. What about you, Michael?
So good.
It's true.
Yeah, I mean, we love partnership, I think, for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's very selfless. I think it takes a person or a brand out of its own element. You think about what's going to work for your partner. And we also think a lot about brands as being really, really human and having a deep level of humanity. What I mean by that is people need partnership.
Yes.
Right? Whether that's with someone that you love or whether it's a family member or a friend, like we thrive when we are connected to a thing, and that thing is usually a person. So I think when brands start to do that, connect with other brands, connect with other people, it shows depth, it shows intention, it shows thoughtfulness, that you can't always show when you're just focused on yourself and your own brand.
That is so true. Let's talk about Broccoli City. You guys are both heavily involved with us, and we're so grateful for that. Why was it important for you, both of you, to find, a deep collaboration with Broccoli City? And of course, please bring up Broccoli Bar.
I will say for me personally, I have attended Broccoli City Festival every year for the past 5 years.
Ooh, we got a loyalist over here, yes.
Last year was my first time being involved in the sponsorship and partnership piece of it. I was working with the distributor and really more so involved in the activation. But seeing the opportunities, being on site and involved last year, this year coming on the sponsor side and really managing it from a dollars perspective, from an activation perspective, and aligning the brands, it was really important to me that, again, maximizing that platform and opportunity. Broccoli City, the festival, obviously being the center of this is huge, but the conference, the 5K, the Power of One campaign, it was really important to me that we made this 360 as impactful as possible. I worked very closely with Tiffany here in the front.
Shout out to our EP of the conference and festival.
To find the right brands for the right occasion, and really looking not just at the consumer audience, not just at the drink strategy that would make sense, not just at the culture play, but really at what is the brand doing and how does it align with Broccoli City's initiatives and their goal. And I mean, we spent endless hours going through each other's respective annual plan. What is our focus this year? Who is the consumer? What is the mission? What is the purpose? And then aligning that with each other's, overall objective for this partnership. And that was really to, again, create these culturally relevant, authentically engaging, meaningful experiences for my consumers as the brand consumer, and then also Broccoli City's consumer as the festival goers, conference goers, etc.
And I totally agree. I mean, with the speakeasy happening right now downstairs, I think a lot of the conference attendees, that's our vibe.
Yeah.
That's how we come together. That's how we network. And so you guys definitely know our audience and knew how to, create that niche where they can bond, network, and connect over great drinks. And it's all brought to you by Crown Royal. I think that's excellent. I mean, we know it's booming downstairs right now. Even yesterday, there were so many people coming together, hadn't seen each other in a while, and it was all over drinks and fellowship. And that was because of you guys creating that little space downstairs that made them feel like they were in a different world than being up here.
Yeah, and we really wanted to have that opportunity with so much talent and so much insight and resource in this building, just to connect, like you said, over a drink where you guys can network, exchange contact, take all the great conversation that, we have a limited time on the stage and continue that conversation downstairs. So.
Yep. Michael?
I actually wasn't a Crown drinker, but I got into some Crown last night.
Awesome, that's what we like to hear.
Successful collaboration right there.
Yeah. I was baptized.
Okay, let's do it.
Welcome to the Brown life.
Real. I think for us, look, I've always looked to Broccoli City, right? If And Pizza were a festival, it would be Broccoli City. If Broccoli City were a pizza shop, it would be And Pizza. So
Love
I think
that.
we're very purpose-driven as individuals. And the cool thing about our partnership is literally started off as friendship, shaking hands, breaking bread, and then we're at South by Southwest at the WeDC event, probably drinking a different version of Crown at the time, but
But that's alignment right there over
Yeah.
the drink that you both like.
that's right.
Fellowship over what you like to do most.
And I knew that there was a location that was going to be coming up in Shaw, and I approached the guys and said, look, I would love to figure out a way to activate Broccoli City 365 days a year because your mission is so powerful. I can do the pizza, we can build out the bar, and let's partner on this thing to really bring what it is you're doing to life. And I think the community has reacted very well to it because it is a gathering place. It is that third place people talk about that Starbucks coin, but really isn't because it's weird to just hang out in a Starbucks.
Right.
So come to Broccoli Bar.
If you don't have homework or something to do.
Yeah, it's Starbucks is old.
Yeah, definitely check out Broccoli Bar if you haven't already. It's right over there by Howard Shaw Metro Station, right near Howard. There's some Howard Bisons in the building. Okay. Have you guys been to Broccoli Bar yet? Do you love it? It really is a space where you can feel comfortable, relaxed, while being around some like-minded people that could help you get to your next step, right? And I think that's what, collaboration and definitely what Broccoli Bar is definitely all about. With that being said, both of what you guys are doing is creating a legacy at the end of the day, and that is through collaboration. What is the legacy that you both want to leave behind when it's time to, retire or, put up that part of your industry to rest?
For me personally, I just really want to be remembered and acknowledged as someone that was super passionate about the brands that I represented, because I'm very conscious of that. And also the people that I partner with and how I was able to, bring their dreams to life and vice versa. I'm extremely passionate about the work that I do, and I can genuinely say I love it. Day to day, as crazy or hectic as it may be, like a festival week, it is so amazing to see just these really unique experiences come to life, and you'd be surprised the way that I've been able to work with certain people to drive culture, to drive consumption, to drive interest, visibility. So really just being, very pioneer spirit and, continuing to have the growth in our community, continue to, uplift our partners, continuing to be a resource, a platform, someone that added value to the community. I know we talked a lot today about Nipsey and just really being very authentically and genuinely invested in, if I don't win, if I can't win with someone coming with me, right? If I'm not bringing the community with me, and I really want to be somebody that, as I continue to grow in my career, am able to bring people along. And, we talked about sponsorship and mentorship, and really just be, someone that, whether you're starting your career, coming back to a career, a new career, you look to for, kind of that guidance and that insight. So
That's beautiful.
Cool. For me, I think it's a lot of, when I chose to, because again, I had this idea of this values-based company and wasn't sure what industry I was going to apply it to. And when I started researching the food service industry, I started realizing how backwards the employer-employee relationship is. Like, there actually is a thing called Big Pizza. There is a lobbying group here in Washington, D.C. that the top 50 pizza chains in America spend millions and millions of dollars a year, and their two primary objectives are keeping the federal minimum wage at $7.25 an hour and keeping basic nutritional information off of menus.
No, we can't have that, Michael.
No, so like one of the things that we've done is we've wanted to lead by example, not just in terms of, hey, paying a living wage, right? Trying to get the federal minimum wage increased to $15. We as a company are going to be going to $15 this year. We got the bill, thank you. We got legislation passed here in Washington, D.C. and in several other jurisdictions where we've been fighting the campaign trail. I've introduced the last couple raise the wage bills on Capitol Hill with Senator Sanders, Pelosi, and Schumer. And so like that's a big part of it. Like, let's change policy because businesses can't figure out what doing the right thing actually is or actually means. And let's build a business that's fully defensible where you can look at our numbers and say, look, we can have some of the best profit margins in the industry and pay a living wage and take care of our people and.
Yeah, taking care of people is first and foremost always important. With that being said, collaborating isn't always easy. You know, there's the yin and the yang, as always, when it comes to life. And sometimes people can feel defeated and frustrated when they have a great idea and they want to collaborate with you, Rashida, or Michael, and it does not work out, or, you know, they didn't get an email reply back, you know, and this goes beyond just you two. So what advice can you give to people in the room who are interested? You know, they might come up to you, want to collaborate with you, or they have another idea of how they want to collaborate with different companies, and they're feeling a little bit defeated because they're not getting the answers or the response back in a timely manner of what they want most?
I think I find that the most common roadblock in getting that yes or getting that time is your delivery. And I think the biggest piece of advice that I can give someone seeking partnership or sponsorship is do your research. You know, really come to the table prepared with a plan, with some context, with background, a vision. The amount of people that I will touch base with that are like, I want to work together. Define work together. What does that mean?
That's real.
What is your goal? And what context do you want for us, our brands to align? And then why does this make sense? What are you doing? Where are you trying to get? And how does it align with the path that our brands are on? And how can we help you to get there? You know, just in simple things, coming prepared with maybe, you know, we saw that Crumb Royal is really invested in the multicultural community, and that's, you know, that's our audience. And I know you guys are really trying to drive, you know, a culture of living generously and giving back and uplifting the community, and that's what our organization is currently doing. And this is a specific event that we have coming up, and we would like Crumb Royal to be involved in this way, that way. And just really coming with a plan so that from there I can say, okay, cool. The brands align, this makes sense, I see your goal, I know I can help you get there, and we can move forward with a conversation on locking that in and really, you know, activating on that idea. But so many times I think people just look at these opportunities and brands as, you know, well, I see them doing this with that person, or I see them involved in that event, and that's what I want to do. And it's a very aspirational vision, you know, wanting to be in that space, but you have to look at realistically within what you can control. How are you going to get there? And again, how does this make sense? And have I done my research to be able to effectively communicate that to you so there's interest and we can drive that conversation?
And that word that you said earlier is popping back up my head. It's all about being mindful at the end of the day. These are real people with real lives working for these companies, and nobody wants their time wasted and vice versa. And so, you know, I want to be able to help you, but you need to be mindful and do your research, like you said, before you just come to me of like, Rashida, I want to do this thing, help me.
Yeah.
What about for you, Michael?
I don't even remember the question anymore.
My long-winded answer.
No, it's so good.
This is why I love Broccoli Talk, because we get so involved in the conversation that, sometimes you're not the first one that said that in one of my talks so far at the conference. But it was about tips and advice you can give to those in the audience about collaboration and when they might feel defeated if a collaboration is not working out for them.
Yeah, I think it all starts with what is the spirit, like what is the reason for the collaboration. I think if it's really authentic, right, whether it works or doesn't work financially, I think is less important. I think a lot of people miss the mark on that, which is you should be okay with the right partner and the right collaboration, that it doesn't actually work, but it was still worthwhile because you got to spend time with those people and you got to try something that was new, unique, and different. And trying is failing. Like, there's a lot of failure in business, and it's something that Silicon Valley talks about the most, which is their sort of fail fast motto that I hate because there's a carelessness and a recklessness that I think's applied to it, but failure is a real thing. And that's okay, because I think it teaches us some of our greatest lessons in life is when things don't go well. You know, when you wake up and you ram your head into a brick wall all day, it's like, well, how am I not gonna do that tomorrow? So like that's the most important thing to me.
Yeah, you can't see light without darkness at the end of the day. The two go hand in hand for sure. What's something that you both are most proud of when it comes to collaboration? I ask this question because I'm really proud to see that you guys just opened a shop in Boston with Milk Bar.
Yeah.
That's really dope. Yeah, shout out to Boston. I was born in Boston, so shout out to that. That's really awesome. I mean, I don't know if that's one of the recent things you're proud of, but if one thing comes to mind, what is it for you both?
Guys, I'm so not saying this because of the context of us being here, but I will honestly say that this Broccoli City just 360 partnership has been one of my greatest accomplishments to date. Just again, really being able to maximize the overall platform being the festival, but everything surrounding it. And we've had so many experiential touch points for our consumers this week, from again, the conference to the festival tomorrow, the 5K race in the morning. We did a series of Power One campaigns, leveraging the Purple Bag Project with Crown Royal, doing some philanthropy and community work.
Yes, at Broccoli Bar.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to see, again, just not your traditional sponsorship where, we're coming in and we're activating at, the larger event, but really, touching the community and the consumers in several different ways throughout the total experience, and really owning the week. So that was a really big moment for me.
I'm gonna give a clap for that for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And for you, Michael?
Well, I already talked about Broccoli Bar.
Yes.
So we have that.
Pound to that.
Thank you.
Proud, that's one of your proud moments.
So I'll talk about the Milk Bar partnership. So that's, started with friendship with Christina Tosi. She is a very special person. And we decided that we were gonna bring back the combo shop. So you guys know the combo shop maybe from KFC, Taco Bell, which I always found to be a little weird.
Very weird.
I didn't even
If
realize.
you're gonna go to KFC, are you also going to Taco Bell?
Right. I don't even think my stomach would agree with that.
Right.
So.
And if that's you, I do want to meet you. Like whoever goes to KFC and Taco Bell at the same time, I like that. So we thought it would be fun to put both brands under one roof, and we thought it was really fun to be able to eat your favorite and pizza and then get Milk Bar for dessert. And it's working out quite well. And it was also fun in terms of the co-branding, like what we can do. And we have, of course, the iconic black and white that And Pizza's notorious for, but then we took pink and we literally hit the entire ceiling, dripping onto the walls in this bright pink. And the combination of the black, white, and pink looks beautiful.
Yep.
And the partnership, just works and people like it.
Wow, that's incredible. What keeps you guys motivated? You are both bosses, for sure. And boss life ain't always easy, that is for sure. So what keeps you motivated in those down times, where you're feeling, on the other end, I guess when you guys are feeling a little bit defeated or frustrated, what keeps you going?
Honestly, I'm someone that, as challenging as any, opportunity can be, I really do find value in that moment where you see the reward. So it could be the most stressful negotiations, planning, managing, execution, but that one moment on site at an event or experiencing a collaboration coming together, I'm just like, this worked, we made it happen, this all makes sense, all of the lost hours of sleep and hard work and, frustration. For me, that little piece where you can stop and take a step back and look at everything that you've done and see it to come together and both partners are happy and pleased and have reached their goals, that's all I need. And honestly, I'm like, all right, tomorrow we're going right back to it. It's going to be another crazy task and check this off the box and then we'll keep it pushing. But yeah, just seeing those things come together and having those little wins. Because like you mentioned, failure is just as important in this process as the successes. So having those little trials and errors as you're going through it, but having the small win, it doesn't necessarily have to be ideally what you thought you'd get, but just having those small moments where you've accomplished a goal really makes it easier for me to make it through.
And for you?
Yeah, I think it's an opportunity to change an industry, an opportunity to change legislation and policy.
The bigger picture.
Yeah, and then also there's a responsibility. Like a lot of motivation comes from being able to do the things that I promised the people that have dedicated their time, energy, and life force to the company that work every single day in the pizza shops of being a better leader, being a better company, providing more and developing. There's a real responsibility, and I take that seriously. Like growth is not just for the investors and for the shareholders. If you're going to grow and you are going to grow aggressively, you need to make sure that you are getting better. What's that experience in that first pizza shop? Is it better than what it was 6, 7 years ago? And that's something that I wrestle with, and where we're going to be putting a lot of dollars into making sure that every time we take a step forward, we're also making sure that everything that we've done continuously improves and we're just a better employer.
Wow. I'm going to open the floor up for questions. Does anybody have a question? Yeah, you can go ahead and clap for them. Make sure you say your name, okay?
Hi, my name is Tysis Jackson, and so you kind of answered the question I was going to ask, Micheal, because I work with organizations that give with intent for impact, and I didn't quite know the full story of &Pizza, so I'm like, I'm so happy. So we sort of seen in DC, we had a restaurant go out of business, partnering or you kind of aligning with Trump. So what do you, as you grow your company and you really talk about the value base that you have, what is it that, what is it the balance? You were getting there a little bit, but what is the balance that you try to strike with the money part, but then also having that value base? So like recently, Tom's just ventured into the gun space. Yeah. Because we think about Tom's with shoes, but they just say, "Hey, I'm tired of the violence." And
of course.
So I just think that's really interesting to kind of see where that balance is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you both.
They had a cool event at Union Market. Yeah. Look, I think the balance of like purpose versus profit, I think a lot of it is just setting things up and baking them into the business model, literally, which means that, when you're out raising capital and you're convincing other people to invest in your business, that there are non-negotiables, right, or what we call sacred cows in the business world, things that you can't touch. Like, we are going to pay people X. We are going to spend this amount of money in training and development. We're going to spend, you just bake it in so that the investor knows that is part of the business, that is part of the brand. And then I go very aggressively on a PR tour to make sure that it's not just the investors that know it, but then the brand becomes known for these things. And there's a defensibility in that, because if for whatever reason I get hit by a bus tomorrow, I want to make sure if a new CEO comes into this business that they know they have to continue doing those things, because there's a direct correlation to doing the right thing by the communities that we serve and the profit that we're able to generate. And so that's where we're at now, but it allows us to, I think, pick up more and more speed to do more and more of those things. And our business is very political. Look, I think the next wave of what's going to define a successful brand, it's going to be brands that take a stand, that are willing to stake their reputation to things that are deeply political. We have a massive election coming up. This is arguably the most important election in the history of this country, and if I don't put the weight of &Pizza behind what I think is the right thing as it pertains to that, then who am I as a leader?
We have a next question. Don't be shy. Oh.
Hi, my name is Catherine. I actually have a question for both of you, if that's okay. So for my question is, you have locations in New York and in Philadelphia. A little biased, I'm from New York. I went to school in Philadelphia. Do you have any plans to do like what you did with the Broccoli Bar here for New York and the Philadelphia location? Well, not location, but next locations that would be opening up in those two markets?
Yeah, so just so you know, we're in Boston, New York, Philly, Baltimore, DC, and Miami now, which is pretty cool. And we're going south, so we're gonna have some really cool expansion going into Richmond, Charlotte, Raleigh, et cetera, Virginia Beach. But yeah, we're constantly looking at what are the right sort of local collaborations, things that we can do that are different. And so that's definitely gonna be a part of how we expand. So look for new, different, and weird, hopefully very weird things to come.
And Rashida, I guess because you asked for both, I can follow up with a sense of how are you guys tapping into new festivals or events that are happening? Are you guys looking to expand your footprint across the country when it comes to the brands you work with and partnering them with community activations?
We're already there. I mean, Diageo brands show up. We actually, my lovely team right here, we have representatives based in all of the key markets and all of those in between to really look at these local events and even the larger national events, we're definitely very mindful of cultural moments and opportunities, again, to come together for the right purpose and mission and be impactful with, the consumers that we're trying to reach. So we're always looking at opportunities, and we are at a national scale at this point.
Yeah.
Next question. You have a question? Don't be shy. Question. You got one? No? Okay, well, I can pop a next question because that's what I do best. With that being said, crowded marketplaces. What are some of the most crowded marketplaces that you feel are a struggle for you guys right now? You're expanding down south, like you said. You're, nationally all over the place. What are the toughest markets right now that you guys are dealing with across the country?
I would say the national event space, just because of, the mass awareness. So everyone's looking at Super Bowl, everyone's looking at Essence Fest, everyone's looking at Homecoming, everyone's looking at the festivals. So for me, and the program that I manage and my team is a lot of it's hyper-local. So we're looking at what is happening in these cities that, again, are super culturally relevant. We can drive authentic engagement and won't be as competitive. So maybe it's the super cool underground party series that taps in a really local market that is our audience, but the national team sitting in the office at New York wouldn't know about it. But we're here to be that voice and that resource to say, let's put them on the map. And granted, all these events end up growing to that scale. And then they're touching regional cities and then they're on a national tour. But it's really good to be mindful of, having the insight locally to see it. And then, looking at the national events and saying, we can show up there, but that doesn't necessarily have to be the priority because everyone's trying to show up there. And then with that, conflict and battle, sometimes you lose a lot of opportunity because, I don't necessarily want to be involved in an event and there's 5 different brands trying to do 5 different things with 5 different missions and trying to align all of that and have it make sense for the audience where, you can own something that, you have a little more management over.
And what about for you, Michael? As you continue to expand, where are some of those trouble spots you're seeing right now?
Well, food is really competitive.
Yeah,
and it's getting harder and harder. It's not just about making good food. You have to get every aspect of it right. But for me, I think it's really about authenticity. Like when I often get a chance to talk to entrepreneurs or other people in food service, et cetera, I remind them that like the world doesn't need your version of someone else's product, right? The world needs like something that is unique, that is inside of you, that there's greater risk to not execute on it than there actually is to give it a shot. And like, that's what we need, right? We need authentic ideas, concepts, products that maybe don't make sense or make sense for a very, very, very small group of people. That's what I'm looking forward to, and that's what I want to promote the most, because I don't think at that point you're really competing. Right? You're competing, sure, with yourself, but there's not broad marketplace competition. I think you have the best chance of long-term success, and we've seen that in food.
That's real. I want to take, you have a question over here? I'll save mine then.
Hi, I'm Samia Anderson. I'm a junior at Howard University.
All right.
HU. But I wanted to know, you just touched on this a little bit, what was the process of finding your uniqueness in an oversaturated market? How do you find purpose in saying that, hey, I belong in this market and I have, I'm supposed to be here and there is a need here? I just want to know the process of it for both of you.
As I mentioned earlier in, having the conversation about being a part of the festival and surrounding events, a lot of it was, and I mentioned about tips for people, just as much as there's an expectation that you, as the person seeking partnership and sponsorship, is going to do your research, I did my research as well. So I spent endless nights, really looking at where Broccoli City started and where it has come and kind of where they're looking to go and how I can power that, how I can be a resource for that, how I can collectively work with them to bring some of those goals, into fruition. So for me, it's really about, being equally a resource and, being equally accountable for making sure that you're here for the right reason and doing the right thing and, ensuring that your partner can be as successful as possible and adding value. So, I navigate that by, just as much as there's an expectation for you to come to the table with ideas and, a vision and a plan, I'm doing the same on my end, always.
And for you?
Yeah, I like what you said. I mean, research is so key.
Absolutely.
Like people are always shortcutting the research, and I see that so much in food where it's like, there's so much blood, sweat, tears, and capital being put into that restaurant, but you know it's a terrible location. And like, were you actually outside with a clicker counting the amount of people that walked by every single hour of the day, right? Did you figure out how many residents are within a half mile, 3/4 of a mile, a mile? Like, did you do the real analytical
That is
work?
real research
That's
right
how-
there.
that's
telling you, like, it
dedication.
goes-
But that's what makes
no
you
idea.
successful, right?
We literally have like a 20-page like pamphlet that goes out in every potential and pizza location. We're going to do that. No, it literally covers every, because you don't want to make mistakes. But
Yeah.
the other side of it's the creative process, and the creative process is different for everyone. For me, I do my best thinking. This is kind of ironic, but when I'm sleeping,
In your
Some of
dreams.
my best ideas have come to me in a dream.
you have no
let me
idea,
tell you.
because
That's real.
my mind finally is shut off,
Relaxed,
and then
right.
all of this sort of creative process starts to happen. So I literally will wake up 4 a.m., 6 a.m., whenever, and it's like, boom, there it is. Or
Do you write it down, Michael? When those, when those.
no, when it
dreams-
comes, it's there. It's
Okay.
there. It's dialed in. And then when I'm running,
That's a blessing right there, because
Yeah.
I gotta write it down. I might forget in 5 hours. What did I just dream about? That's a blessing.
that is also my justification for maybe sleeping more than other CEOs. So leave me alone. When I'm running, which I don't love to run, but like I run because I get good clarity and thought there, and it helps my
Creative
creative
juice.
process. And then at any point, if I can find like a sauna, like any hot, whether it's just like being in the sun or like being in a sauna and just
Or
like
being in
sitting
Bikram
there.
yoga,
Yep.
for me.
Then I'm in. So I think you got to find that. You have to find that, because I don't think that there's a universe now where you can be successful in business if you're not activating both the right and left part of your brain. Like, we live in this really interesting time where creativity has such a high value to everything, because the things that people are literally attracted to tend to be a little bit different and just that much more creative. And that's how we're spending our dollars, with things that do inspire us, that have depth to it. And so you gotta have it. And you don't have to be a quote unquote traditional creative. I don't necessarily believe in that. That's not a necessity, but there does need to be creativity baked into the concept and the idea, because you need that to win.
Wow. Well, Michael and Rashida, you both definitely inspired us today, I know, for everybody in the room. We don't have any more time for questions, but I want to give a round of applause for our panelists, because it really was a great discussion. They will be around, so feel free to come up to them after they hop off the stage. But I want to thank you both so much for joining me today. I know that you sparked some minds in this room for sure of how they can have effective collaborations. And thank you guys so much for being a part of this conversation today.